Today we're going to do a side-by-side comparison of the two different available versions of the 2023 Land Rover Defender 75th limited edition models for the commemoration of the 1948 launch at the Amsterdam Motor Show for the Series 1 Defender. That's what these are all about. Available in 110, or maybe you're saying to yourself, you know what, I want to go out on the trail and show up those Broncos, the two-door Broncos. Well, you can get your two-door Defender as well with the 90 as well. And the big thing that you're going to find here on both models, there's a lot of exterior changes and design features here that really separate these apart, including the debut of the exterior color. Let's get my shadow out of the scene there a little bit. Grassmere Green is what this is called. It's the only color available for this 75th anniversary edition. And then you'll find the Grassmere Green wheels. Those are 20-inch wheels wrapped with the 255 on the width. So you've got a nice wide grip here with the tire, the tread size, a nice large pattern there to basically get you over anything you want to drive over, any surface, any driving conditions. And we have, as you can see right there, we're gonna have the full-size spare, and also here a full-size spare. Now, one question that a lot of people might have is, what is the difference in price? So let's walk over here to the 90 and take a look at what it is first. $94,560, about a $3,000 price difference here, as on the 110 it's $97,060. And obviously both are going to have the premium LED headlights and the signature daytime running lights, the fog lights down there on the lower portion of the bumper. And while the upper grille area is not that big, it's still letting in a good bit of air, but you get so much more flowing in from down here on the bottom. Forward-facing cameras on both. And what's under the hood? Well, here's something that might be a bit of a surprise. You have the same engine under the hood of both models. It's the 3-liter inline 6-cylinder, putting out 395 horsepower and 406 pound-feet of torque. Both models are all-wheel drive, and both models feature an 8-speed automatic transmission. But here's what may be a surprise. Since the 90 is a little smaller, at least shorter in wheelbase, than the 110, you might expect them to have different gas mileage. Do they? 18 city, 23 highway, 20 combined, and 5 gallons of gas is what Land Rover says you should use on this 90 for every 100 miles you drive. And then right over here, guess what? The numbers are identical. So in case you were curious about that, still 18, 23, 20, 5 gallons of gas per every 100 miles you drive. Let's try not to tongue twist that. And obviously in both models, you're going to find the same infotainment system, the PV Pro with the 3D surround view camera, if Tom can make that come up. There we go. That's the fault of mine, not the fault of Land Rover. But here is your 3D surround view camera. A very nice look. You can take a look at the 90 right here in the picture, and you can also take a look at the 110 over there. So a pretty neat little live view. And then obviously you're going to have the overhead view as well to show off the multiple views that you have available from the multiple camera angles around the vehicle, whether on the rear or here on the front, as you can see. And by the way, besides having configurable terrain response, both models are also going to come with your wireless charging pad right there. So a nice add right there. But let's talk about something that may be a bit of a surprise. There are going to be some differences in cargo capacity, but what about towing? When it comes to cargo capacity, well, depending on what your situation is, well, choose accordingly. Here with the 90 that we're looking at right now, you have 15.6 cubic feet, and obviously you can maximize that. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. The seats are not far enough forward to allow that to go flat, but they do go flat. But 15.6 cubic feet is what you have here overall for your cargo capacity. So if you're saying to yourself, I need a lot more cargo capacity than 15.6 cubic feet, well, you're going to find it here with the 110. On the low end, we're looking at 34 cubic feet. And keep in mind, if you want to know exactly what is a cubic foot, a basketball is the size of a cubic foot, or maybe I should say a cubic foot is the size of a basketball. But when you maximize your cargo capacity by folding out both rear seats like this, I'm not going to do the other one right now because you get the idea here. You maximize to 78.8 cubic feet. And both obviously have the safari windows, as you can see right there. I'm just showing you here on the 110, but you can see the glass over there on the 90 for the safari windows as well. Now, one thing, just looking at the difference in length, really what would be called wheelbase more than anything else, but obviously one is longer than the other. The 110 is longer. Someone might assume that the 110 can tow more than the 90. Well, in all reality, they're identical according to Land Rover. 8,201 pounds. 8,201 pounds, let me get that out without tongue twisting, is what Land Rover says you should be able to tow with both models. And from what I'm understanding, this next feature I'm going to show you is highly sought after, but not easy to find. And that is the absence of a typical panoramic sunroof in favor of the fabric folding roof, and there are some big advantages to that. Such as the fact that when out on safari, well, rear seat passengers, at least one or two, depending on how big they are, can actually stand up and enjoy the view from a completely different perspective. In fact, that's not all that it does for us. I'm going to give you a good look at the 90 series from this angle, but also the 110. Now, I will say that it's a little bit more challenging. Here in the 90, I have the front seat, the driver's seat, way far forward, about as far as it'll go, not only because I wanted to show you the difference here, but also because I couldn't get in the back seat without moving it all the way up. But that is going to be a difference. So you're going to have a little bit more space for your rear seat passengers to pop up through the folding roof there and, well, take advantage of that. It can be done here, it's just not quite as easy because of space. And in case you're curious about leg space here in the 90, well, here is what you have. And then you're going to also have the rear air conditioning vents. You've got dual zone climate control back here, really quad zone in both models. And you can control everything you need to control here. Now, you do have the heated seats in the rear, as you can see right there, but not ventilated. You can see the ventilated don't actually come on right there. Not a big deal necessarily, but do have connectivity back here as well. And a nice view. Let's take a look. Even though you can see a sky out of these safari windows. And now let's hop over into the 110 and see what the differences are. And as is likely expected, you are going to have a little bit more space here, just so you can see the difference. It just seems like there's a little more. You have more wheelbase and more overall length of the vehicle, so that's going to mean a little bit more roomy interior. And again, the exact same setup here on the rear of the center console for your quad zone climate control, heated only. And by the way, that is the outboard seats. So whoever's sitting here in the middle, well, if it's cold, they're just going to have to deal with having a cold butt because, well, they couldn't win the fight over the other kids to get in the outboard seats. Quad zone climate control once again, and our connectivity, everything basically the same here from that point forward. And for superior comfort, 14-way driver and passenger seats in both. They are also heated seats. And they're not only heated, they are ventilated as well, which is what you would expect at this particular price point. And that is exactly what you'll find. Some of those goodies that come with either model will be the minimalist watch, if I get that out of my mouth. There are some clothing goods and a backpack, but there is one thing I want to show you that I don't normally get to do as far as having two of these lined up side by side. How about a nose-to-nose comparison on the available ride height positioning? So the 90 obviously over here is going to be at its lowest. The 110 is at its highest, and you can really see the difference. So you can raise those up. Now, the one thing, and I know a lot of people might say, I wish it wasn't that way, but when you reach a certain speed out on the road, they're going to automatically lower no matter where they are here. If you raise it all the way up, it's going to lower back down to stock ride height. Just one of those things to be aware of. But I thought while we had the opportunity to give you a side-by-side, or really I should say nose-to-nose comparison, we would do that. So tell me what you think about the 2023 Land Rover Defender 75th Limited Edition. Now that we've taken a look at both models and what the differences are between your typical Land Rover Defender that is not the 75th Anniversary Edition, or Limited Edition I should say, tell me what you think. Is this something you would like to buy? If so, tell me all about what you plan to do. I gotta say a special thanks to my friends at Land Rover of Shreveport for loaning me both models for the day, and all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn about other vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.